a huge percentage of closing, or sometimes not even opening. And if and when they close, they keep everything. They keep the real estate, they keep the building, they keep the supplies, the computers, chairs, that's everything. And so there you have this big multi-use building, a beautiful shiny new school that they built, right? And they can just rent it out to the next whoever and be making all that money off our public tax dollars. It's crazy. Okay, and then we have the local charter that's coming, and I'll just talk briefly about that. I don't want to get too into the weeds on this either, but it's not even like a basic, run-of-the-mill charter. This is like straight from the top charter. You have like Betsy DeVos, then we had Rick Scott until he was promoted, and then Ron DeSantis, Richard Corcoran, all these people in Florida. It goes right, dunk, 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 who are all in line with this. And one of them is a representative in Tallahassee, Byron Donalds, and his wife, Erica Donalds, is the one who started the charter school here in Martin County. Rebecca Negron, when Joe Negron was our senator in Tallahassee, Rebecca Negron sat on our school board. So here we have wives on school boards with husbands in Tallahassee who are creating the legislation to defund and starve public schools, promote charter schools, and then the people on the school boards are promoting the charters in our community. So we did a really great thing by voting Rebecca Negron off the school board because she was here for her own political interests and not our school, but not in time, and we got this charter school by Erica Donalds. So I feel like, we're really like a ground zero microcosm of the whole system right here in Martin County. The curriculum for that school is straight from an ultra-conservative college in Michigan. It's got a ultra-right-wing conservative agenda. It's anti-LGBTQ, which Erica Donalds has already said that she believes students should be able to go to a school without LGBTQ students. There's been all kinds of problems and issues with it already. So it's gonna open, but we're just trying at every turn to just let people know that they're not really the good community neighbor that they're making themselves out to be. And they will tell you that they are in all the ways that they are, and it's just not true. Do charters perform better? No. Yes?
One of the things that I've asked various people in government, they tell me that charter schools are better, and they give you a choice. You have a choice now.
Yeah.
And our choice is better than your choice.
Yeah, so that's a really good point.
So my answer to that is, well, why don't you take what's in the charter school and put it into the public school and do away with the charter school?
Yeah. It's a really good point that you brought up. It's about choice, and that's basically how they message it. It's about choice. Everybody should get to choose where their kids go and have best education, and all that is messaging. And just making it seem like, oh, everybody should have that choice. It really has nothing to do with choice because, like you said, why don't you just give all the money to the public schools, have everything you need, and then there you go. It's really just messaging. I mean, it's the same thing. So the same people that are, you should have all this choice in education, are zero choice with reproductive issues. It's just messaging, and it's a catch-all word that the GOP uses. And I know, I speak to nonpartisan groups now. I'm a diehard Democrat, okay? But really, that's another thing we can talk about is how the Republican Party really has been taken over by this whole other group, the Libertarians. So I'm really not anti-Republican, I'm anti-Libertarian. But I don't want to get too far off that, but yes, they frame it under the guise of choice, but it's really not about choice. Vouchers, so charter schools, do they perform better? There's a ton of research out there. So again, I don't want to list it all and go into it all, but charters don't perform better when you hold all the other factors equal. What are vouchers? Vouchers are basically like private school gift cards, right? So if you go to Barnes & Noble with a $5 gift card and you want to buy $50 worth of books, it's only so valuable if you don't have the extra $45. And there's, I'm going to skip that part again. I don't want to get too into the weeds. Okay, so legislation. We just finished the legislative session in Tallahassee. And again, there's literally too much legislation to list one by one about how badly public schools just got hurt. But that's why I kind of gave the whole history of earlier on even than the Kochs, and then when the Kochs got involved, because this has been building for years and years and years and years and years and decades. So this past legislation session was really just their victory lap. Yes?
Where do the teachers come from? Where do they pick these teachers from? Do they take them out of the schools?
Teachers at charter, some teachers will leave public schools and go teach, and then some they just pull out from wherever. Do you want a job teaching? And that's been another thing. They do require certification in Florida, but now that like legislation just passed to make the certification all that much easier. So, you know, are you really getting the high quality teachers? You know, and I'm not here to bash any teachers, and teachers that teach in charters, you know, I feel like are medical doctors who sometimes make mistakes. It's not because they want to harm anybody, you know, these are good people who want to just do their job and think they're doing well, but a lot of times they don't even know the system that they're really working in. So that's another good question, because it's not that it's like superior teaching.
Laura, you might want to comment on, but I want the audience to know that this isn't like a bunch of little independent charter schools. This is a serious movement to do away with public education. You have large networks of charter schools, you know, USA charter schools, there's so many. And a couple of years ago, with Rebecca Negron's leadership in part, they created a state school board association for charter schools, which would run against the public school board association. So when they're saying, you know, this is choice, this is this, no, it's not. You are setting up a complete alternative system for profit.
Yeah.
And it's all about profit.
That's a great way to put it, thank you. It's all about separating and making a whole separate system.
And discrimination.
And it's based on profit and discrimination. You know, I've read articles where hedge fund managers are like, whoa, I'm out of like that stuff over there, like charter schools is the way to go. It's that much money. And discrimination. And like John said, you know, it's not just local here, there, it's a whole organized system of a systematic takeover, and they do it by actively destroying our public schools. Like we used to have public schools and private schools, right? If you felt a need to have something extra or different at a private school and you paid for it and that's where the best fit for your child was, fine. But they weren't over here like killing the schools. So again, I want to talk about locally, for example, in the Senate, Joe Negron, our senator, state senator at the time in Tallahassee, was really working hard, pushing with Rick Scott and a whole bunch of other people, specific legislation to defund public schools and funnel that money to charters, while his wife is sitting on a board here getting a charter to be able to come to Martin County. That's corrupt. That's corrupt. The bottom line is this entire system is corrupt, but they've legalized it because the people making the laws are the ones profiting, so they legalize it. It's corruption. Yeah.
Joe Negron also voted for private prisons, got a lot of money from a PAC.
Yeah.
Now he makes $400,000 a year working for who? A private prison.
Yeah, so that's a whole other thing, private prison.
I want to talk about corruption. I got a whole pocket full.
And again, the discriminatory aspect. It's a whole school to private prison pipeline. And here's another really important book that I hope people will read, The History of Institutional Racism in U.S. Public Schools. And I'm going to donate this copy to the NAACP. And it really just talks about how all of these things that are geared towards more segregation, and then you get them into this, you know, school to prison pipeline, and we have this whole thing, this like humanitarian crisis right now of mass incarceration. And so Joe Negron, same person we were just talking about, and Rebecca Negron, as a school board member, their campaigns were backed and donated to by this GEO private prison company. My kids go to school in Martin County. I don't want a school board member in my county being backed by a private prison company. That is unconscionable. And we worked really hard to get her out, and we're working really hard to get anybody else out who does this. It's corrupt, it's unconscionable, it's inhumane, and I said I wasn't going to get too worked up, so that's all I'm going to say. But that's what this is to me. This is a whole underlying system of despicable, keeping yourselves up at the cost of other human suffering. It's not okay. So, thank you, Randy.
Sorry.
So where are we now? So our schools basically are dead. Okay, yes, you have a question?
Now, we are paying for the charter schools.
Yes.
And the public schools we are not paying. Now, what's the difference?
So we are still funding public schools, it's just that
Right.
they get a lot less money, and a lot of the school goes to the charter schools, so we're funding those too. But the public schools still have to be accountable, everybody has to be served, everybody has to watch their P's and Q's, we watch a budget, everything is accounted for, the public can come and give input and oversight. There's no oversight in charter schools, that's the main thing, there's no accountability or oversight with our money, so they get to do whatever they want.
Well, we gotta pay for the public school and then the charter school.
Yes, we're paying for all of it.
We paying for all of it.
We're paying
Now,
for all of
what's
it.
the Is the teachers different?
Well, like I was saying, some teachers are the same, and then sometimes in charter schools, they tend to have less qualifications because they do need to be certified, I wanna be clear on that. But they're kind of reducing the certifications, yeah.
And there's a high turnover rate of charter schools, a high failure rate. So one of the issues I think with charter schools, and this is from some personal experiences, you're a new charter school or an old one, and you can hire a teacher who has a bachelor's degree, but having a bachelor's degree doesn't mean you know how to teach.
That's right.
And then you can take like maybe as little as one course a year towards certification. So the teacher's going to classes to get certified, but chances are probably pretty good that by the end of the 3 years, she doesn't have her certification or his certification, and now she's no longer at that school because either she's moved on because the school has issues or the school has failed. So that comes from one.
Yeah, and honestly, if you look at it from the teacher's perspective, it's totally offensive what they're doing. They're minimizing them as professionals and saying you don't matter and we don't value what you do. And even lately with the push for guns in school, forget the teachers being armed. That's just like crazy town that no teachers, no students, nobody wants. But I also think, where are the cops on this? Like, they have to be like, wait a minute, this is what I do as my profession, and you think someone else can just come in and do my job with 5 hours of training or whatever it is? Like, it's offensive really to all of these people as professionals. So, let me just keep going because I know I tend to go on and I don't know how much more time I have, but yeah.
I found out that teachers who want to carry guns have to have 161 hours of training. I also found out, when I talked to Toby Oberman, Oberdorf, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
I told him that having teachers carry guns in school is an unfunded state mandate. And he said, well, how can that be? It's, I don't get it. What are you coming from on that comment? He got mad.
Yeah, well, the guns in the school thing is a whole nother topic and conversation that I would love to come back and talk about sometime.
He got mad at me because I told him that if you'd have given the money for the RSOs, you wouldn't have to have teachers with guns.
Yeah, that's a whole nother bag of stuff that I would love to talk about another time. And maybe after June 3rd, because we're having a open town hall forum with Toby Overdorf regarding all of this, so.
Oh, good, I'll bring my doors.
Yes. Okay, so where are we now? I feel like our schools really, I hate to say, are dead. They won. They won. This past legislative session was the final, all the Joe Negrons, all the Betsy DeVosses, everything that they've done, this was it. They put the final, so right now, we just have to fight back. I also feel like, everybody who pays attention to Martin County, our river is dead. Look at our water, right? Toxic. All these things kind of together, it's all the same people. That's my message that I would love for people to take away, is that we're all in our own lanes, educators or the water people, or healthcare or voter rights, and they're all such important issues, and I fight valiantly as much as I can for everyone. But when we all start to see that the same people and the same dollars, right? It's all dollars, it's all money, is what's underneath, and we can all come together out of our single lanes and join those lanes, then that's when we will be a force to be reckoned with. That's when we will say, it's we the people against you 1% trying to just keep us down.
That's right.
So that's where I think we need to go with that. That said, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Teachers in Florida